Your home, in most cases, is your largest asset. And right now, we're joined by Patrick Kelleher from Kelleher and Associates, eldercarelaw.com, down on the South Shore. Patrick, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Now, like I was just saying, most people's largest asset is their home, and in most cases, it's not protected correctly. Would you agree?
I do agree. I see a lot of folks out there with their homes in their name individually, and what they don't understand is when the person who owns the home passes away or even becomes disabled, their house is going to go off to the probate court. A married couple can hold their home together jointly, but all you're doing is delaying or deferring probate, because when a surviving spouse passes away, that asset's going to go off to the probate court.
And I'm sure it's something you come across all the time. People don't want to talk about death. They don't want to think about death. They don't want to think about their parents dying. A lot of people don't know what probate is. You don't want to know what probate is. You want to be aware of it, right? But you can structure your lives so you don't have to deal with it, which it can be a really tough situation.
Yeah, that is correct. Probate court, from my experience and most of my clients' experiences who had to go through a probate for a family or a loved one, they want to avoid it like the plague. They refer to probate court as the messes and stresses of probate court. It costs too much money, too much time, too much stress, and oftentimes probate court can be like the Roman Colosseum. It invites family feuds and quarreling, and oftentimes it can destroy family relationships for generations to come, and it also puts creditors on notice and so forth. So probate court is a great thing, from my experience, for families to avoid.
Okay, so we want to stay away from it. We've established that. For the person out there that's creating a family, just buying a home for the first time, when should they be engaging with an elder care law attorney like yourself, and what questions should they be asking?
Absolutely. Great question, Chris. So from my experience, folks oftentimes will look to protect their property from different things. Some folks might be looking to protect their home from probate court. And when they do that, they can create a trust and transfer their property into the trust, or what I like to refer to as a treasure chest, okay? So that'll be probate avoidance. And a revocable living trust oftentimes would be appropriate for that type of planning. However, sometimes folks 60, 65 and over, or folks with disabilities, are looking to protect their homes from other things, namely the potential cost of long-term care, because nursing homes in this area can cost about $15,000 per month private pay.
$15,000 per month.
That is correct.
That's insane.
On average,
that's crazy.
Yep, private pay for a private room in this area. They say statistically the average stay in the nursing home is about 3 years. So folks who are listening to the program, watching the program, if you're good at math, run the numbers. $15,000 per month over a 3-year period is over $500,000 private pay. So those folks oftentimes may be concerned about that, and they'll say, hey, Patrick, how do you protect a house from the nursing home? If my spouse becomes completely incapacitated, how do I protect a family home? And there's ways we can do that for them.
And I think that's a reason right there in itself, especially for people that are in 30s and 40s who have parents that are getting older. Take care of this stuff now. I would have to say, for most families, you throw out numbers like that, $500,000 over 3 years, that's going to cripple most families.
Yes, it can be most certainly financially devastating, economically and emotionally devastating for the family when they fail to plan.
And if it was planned correctly, like you're saying, and things were dealt with up front, you put the plan in place, you can definitely avoid some of those mishaps down the road.
Most certainly. And folks watching the program here, there's a 5-year look-back period. So typically I recommend to my clients, typically 65 years and age of older is a time when folks want to seriously consider creating what I refer to as an irrevocable Medicaid asset protection trust, to look at transferring their home into that trust, because the property is not protected until 5 years later from the cost of long-term care expenses. There's a 5-year look-back period here in Massachusetts in that situation.
Now, I don't want to open up a can of worms here, so to say, but occasionally on the finance side, when I'm writing loans for people, mortgages, it comes up that their loan is in a trust, and
right.
in most cases they have to take it out to close the loan in their name. That can cause a problem, you're saying, on your end.
Yes, it can. So what people have to be, when I meet with my clients, I had appointments earlier today at my office and yesterday, and one of my qualifying questions when clients say, hey, Patrick, we're concerned about the future long-term care cost. We have this family home that we purchased many years ago. We want to leave it as a legacy to our children and our grandchildren. We want you to create one of those irrevocable Medicaid asset protection trust or treasure chest. Can we do it? I have pre-qualifying questions that I ask them. And one of those questions, Chris, is, do you plan on taking out a refinance anytime in the near future? Do you have any anticipation of taking out a home equity line of credit for anything? So I want to get that information from the client first. And the reason why, because I don't want to get the client to get the cart before the horse. I don't want them to create the trust, us to transfer the property into the trust to get that 5-year clock running, which is great, but then say 6 months or a year later, the client has a financial need and they want to pull equity out of the house. That's all well and good, but from my experience, most lenders will require that they take the property back out of trust to get that loan.
So important to really have the team working for you. Somebody like yourself, the elder care attorney, financial planner like you're talking about, who is able to establish what their cash needs are. If you need to pull it out, you got to pull it before they come to you. You don't want to put the cart before the horse, for sure.
Most certainly. That's when the other professionals, being a collaborative part of the team, mortgage finance professionals like yourself, Chris, and then a good financial advisor as well, to come in and run the numbers for the client to assess and evaluate their cost of living and what their anticipated expenses may be, and do they have a need to take out a refinance at that point in time. And if they do need to purchase a new car, or they need some home repairs, a new furnace or a new roof, then they should obtain their refinance first. They can still create their trust, but they receive their refinance first before they legally transfer the property into the trust. And of course, I always advise my clients, you always want to get your bank's permission and approval as well. And from my experience, most banks are okay with it, but it's always important to get their approval.
All great information. And Patrick, I understand you're on the South Shore. You hold seminars, free seminars, frequently.
Yes, we do. A big part of our practice, we're strong proponents of education. Educate folks to motivate them to take action, to put a plan in place while they're alive and well. So I teach free educational workshops, estate planning and elder law workshops, twice a month at my learning center in Hanover, which is at 1415 Hanover Street. And folks, if they're interested in learning, getting a free education, they love that information that I teach them at the workshop. It's fun, it's educational, and we have a great website. You can watch some video clips from the workshops. And I strongly encourage folks watching, listening to the show to go to our website. It is elderlawcare.com, elderlawcare.com. Or just Google Attorney Patrick Kelleher, Hanover, Massachusetts, and you should find my website. Go to the video page, go to the workshop page, click on the link, and register for the next free workshop.
Fantastic. Thank you, Patrick. And through a lot of information you hear, it can be confusing. Working with a professional like Patrick will break all that stuff down for you, make sure that you and your family are in the right position. Once again, check out Patrick Kelleher, elderlawcare.com. And remember, we have more tips just like this one right here on our page on boston.com.